Hey, good morning. I am Anton Stetner, and we're going to go through one of my favorite things today. We're going to hang out and talk about some data. As usual, if you have any questions, if you have things that you want to know about the market, feel free to ask them. So I want to look at this real quick, and I want to talk about where things are headed in 2025. And what I did was I went back through and I took the last 10 years of data for King County and Snohomish County, and I dropped them into ChatGPT and I slapped a trend line on them. And I want to share these numbers with you so we can take a forward look at pricing based on where we're at today, and then also based on what's happened in history. Okay, so I've been doing this since 2003. I've sold thousands of homes here in the Seattle Metro. We do a bunch of investment projects, we do land development, we play all the games in real estate. And I've been looking at this data literally that whole time because I love the stories it tells us. So things that you need to know and that you need to be thinking about is right now we are in a transaction recession and not a price recession. And the media, the media perpetuated this idea, this thought that because interest rates were high, that the market was going to just immediately crash. And what happens is us as humans, we have this thing called recency bias. In 2008, the market went because we took buyers that should have had to have qualified better and we put them into homes with the ninja loans, no income, no doc, no job, no verification. The market crashed. We saw massive drops in price. So what happens is every time we now go into recession, people think prices are going to drop. But historically, prices don't always drop when you go into a recession. Matter of fact, the great financial crisis was abnormal. And then usually they're slightly up or flat all the way back since 1900. Okay. The thing I want you to be paying attention to this year is that rates matter. The market will pick up under 6.5%. The market will slow down when it's under 6.5%. And how you know where rates are going is you can look at the 10-year Treasury. So what I want to do real quick is I want to put up the 10-year Treasury. And I want you to take a look at this with me because the 10-year Treasury is going to show us exactly what you want to see. Okay, so you can see here, and I'm going to make myself smaller. Boom. You can see when we're looking at the 10-year Treasury that right before, as they were talking about the Fed lowering rates, basically back in September, rates were, in the low sixes. The Fed starts talking about raising or about lowering rates, boom, rates shoot up. There's the Trump possible inflation due to tariffs, due to economic policies, due to, government printing of more money. And then calms down, but it just popped up again. Why did it pop up again? It popped up again because CPI just came in hot and PPI came in hot. And both of those inflation metrics came in slightly hotter than what we wanted, while unemployment also rose. So that makes it so that our 30-year fixed debt here in the residential real estate market got more expensive. The way to think about the 10-year Treasury is there's always a spread. So today it's at 4.322. And generally speaking, if you add about 2.5% to that, that'll give you today's rate. So today's rate, for conversation's sake, is about 6.82, which is normal, or which is what the rate is. Normally speaking, there's about 180 basis points there in the spread between the 10-year and what a lender is charging you. So one of the ways that rates could come down is if we just get the market to be a little more consistent. We get unemployment numbers to be consistent. We get inflation to be consistent. This spread could collapse, and that could give us about another half point in interest rates. But the majority of the market is predicting that interest rates are going to be in the mid sixes throughout 2025. So don't expect that one to come save us. All right, I'm going to throw my presentation back up. Share screen, share window. Oops, accidentally closed it. Go reopen it. There it is. Okay, so that kind of covers rates. It covers what the 10-year is doing. The thing I also want you to be thinking about is as the Fed starts cutting rates, historically speaking, over the next 1.5 years, rates just continue to trend in a downward direction. But, and this is a big but for us here in the Seattle Metro, item number 5, building permits and land development applications are currently down. So there's not a ton of inventory coming. The next thing to be thinking about is the Puget Sound Regional Council, which controls the UGAs for the major counties around here. They voted to barely expand the buildable lands inventory. So there's not a bunch of buildable land coming. What's in the UGA right now is what's going to be there. What's that mean for home prices? It's going to push them up. Once again, as I go through this, because this is live, if you guys have a question, just drop it right into the chat. I'm happy to answer your question. If you got a comment or something that we're missing, drop that right into the chat too. Okay. Now, nationally, things I want you to be watching. We got to watch unemployment, and we got to watch inflation. Now, we said unemployment first because the Fed is talking their talk track right now where unemployment is the bigger thing they're watching. They feel like they have inflation under control. So now they're working on their dual mandate. Their dual mandate is full employment and inflation under control. We got to watch rates like we talked about. We got to watch consumer confidence and spending. We got to watch the GDP. So is the economy growing? And then we also have to watch these geopolitical events. And now the reason I bring that up is because wars can affect the economy. Another major superpower having trouble inside their economy, the de-dollarization, all of these things can affect the economy. All right, locally, we're going to watch these same things again, but I want to give you a couple metrics that you should be looking at. You're going to look at unemployment numbers and major employers. So specifically what I'm talking about is, Boeing just went on strike, and that meant about 45,000 people here in the Seattle Metro were essentially not working. Microsoft just laid some people off. So we got to be watching these major employers. Of course, Boeing did bring them back. The data I want you watching, because this is where you'll see the market changing. You're going to see the market heating up or slowing down based on these next numbers, the number of new listings. So if you see listings start to grow dramatically, and if you see sales start to slow down, if you see supply grow, if you see the percent of original list price go down, days on market rise, what the market is telling you is it's slowing down. Conversely, if we flip that around and the number of new listings is rising at the normal rate when seasonally adjusted, because we always get a bunch of listings in the spring, and months of supply is flat or trending down, and the percent of original list price goes up, days on market goes down, that's going to cause prices to rise because it's showing you there's more demand inside of the market. And what you can see, and we'll get into the DOM number specifically, the days on market, is during the winter right now, because it's cold out, it's wet. Everyone, we've got like 2 coats over here on my chair over there in the corner. I got a hat. because it's going to be raining. When the weather gets nasty here in the Seattle metro, people buy less homes. So this percent of original list price number right here, number 5, that goes down. The best deals are happening right now. So me as a hardcore investor, all of my hardcore investors, we've been making offers since pre-election, post-election. We'll continue that through the winter months as we hunt for deals that we'll be working on in 2025. All right, once again, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I want to discuss this because I think the average person doesn't understand the difference between average and median. And average is just the total of all the prices of the homes during the time period. We add them up and divide it. What can happen when we're looking at data and we include average is if we got a really expensive home, it pulls it up. If we sold a bunch of cheap homes, it pulls it down. So we're going to look at the median because the median is the number that's kind of right in the middle. And it's a better indicator because it's not going to get movement by the outliers in the market at the same level the average would. So the median is going to give us a more balanced look, and that's why we're going to go through that specifically. Okay, King County. Look at this number right here. This blows my mind. So once again, I took the data from the last 10 years, every month in the median price in King County. And you can see over the last 10 years, it's up 8.61% per year. Holy Toledo. And then when we're done with this, we're going to go into the MLS. And we're going to look at the actual specific numbers of where we're at right now. And you guys can ask any questions that you have during that process. This is the actual data. You can see in 2014, we started at 397,500 was the median price. And the median price in 2024 was 860,000, up 9.8% versus last year. So I want you to ask yourself a question and just be thinking about this. We just went through some of the highest rates that we've seen in my career and in the last 40 years. Basically, rates were only higher in the beginning of the 80s. And if we saw 9.8% appreciation in median price this year with high rates, what do you believe is going to happen as rates come down? 1, more buyer demand. 2, it's more affordable because payments are lower, so more buyers enter the market. But 3, if rates don't come down significantly enough where we get the unlock of the sellers, and I'm talking the sellers that got the 3% mortgage, the 2.5%, the 4%, rates got to come down significantly. So demand is going to increase, but we already talked about development applications and building permits. There's not a deluge of those coming. We don't have a deluge of foreclosures coming. So there's not supply coming. Therefore, prices have to increase. And once again, if you guys have a specific, we will go through the specific. So this is what the actual data looks like over the last 10 years. Each one of these dots is one of the data points. Of course, the dashed line is the trend line. And then I asked a good old ChatGPT to analyze 5% above and 5% below trend so that we could look at the numbers together. Okay, so the current median price is $847,000. If the trend line continues, it's going to be $929,042. That means the average price home in King County is going to be $82,000 more in 2025 if these numbers continue. So when the buyer says, I want to wait, when the investor says, I am not getting enough cash flow, you need to be looking at this and think, well, 82,000 in appreciation is a phenomenal number. Another thing to be thinking about is, let's say we're 5% below. Okay, now that's the low projection, or 5% above. 5% above is the high projection, which would be 128,000 in growth, and 5% below would still represent $35,590 in growth. Unbelievable. Okay, let's look at Snohomish County real quick. Snohomish County saw similar numbers, but higher numbers than King County. So ask yourself, why did the median price in in Snohomish County appreciate higher than King County? Most likely that was due to affordability. So in other words, King got more expensive, and then those people moved north. Now, some of them also moved south into Pierce County, but the majority of them, not the majority, more of them moved north to Snohomish County than moved south to King County, to Pierce County. So 9.3% over the last decade. These are the numbers. This, once again, just blows my mind. In 2014, we started at 304,000. And Snohomish County is at 740,000, or 9.63% over last year right now. Same thing, we slapped a trend line on this. These are the actual data points. We projected it out for 2025 in order to give you our price predictions for this year. And we put the green line is 5% above. The red line, this dotted line over here, is 5% below. What is these actual numbers? The actual numbers is, right now we're at about 740, and the trend line is 802,555. And that's an increase of 8.45%, or 62,500. You know, someone asked me the other day, they said, what do I have to do to make $1 million in real estate? And I want you to be thinking about this. If you simply owned 16 homes in Snohomish County, now realize that's a lot of homes, but if you own 16 homes, in appreciation alone, you would make $1 million a year. That doesn't account for cash flow, depreciation, rent increases, all of that, and the tax write-offs. So it's crazy when you look at this, but the average home is going to be $62,000 more in 2025. And then, of course, the projection for 5% above would be 842,000 or 102,000. 5% below, 762,000 for 22,400. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to open up the MLS for you. And I want to show you some of these stats in real life and go through them. And if you have any questions, once again, just hit me with those questions. I'm happy to answer. Or if you want me to look at something specifically. Oh, wrong one. I've got to stop sharing that one. Present this one, share screen, window, info sparks, share. Perfect. Okay, we are looking at King County right now. And we're looking at sales price. So let's look at the median price. The median is what we just looked over. And you can see there's a seasonality attached to this. Okay, it peaks, May, June every year. So we peaked in King County at 880,000, and right now it's down to 844. So what's the best time of the year to buy? It's in the winter. See how the prices go down in the winter. It's because it's nasty outside. It's because it rains a bunch. Let's look at average. It's crazy to be thinking about this, that the average price in King County is over $1 million. It blows my mind. Just insane. Same thing. This year, you saw average price peak at 1.14 in July. And then right now it's about 1,070,000, up 9% versus last year. Let's look at new listings. So you see that same seasonality here with new listings. It cools down in the winter. Let's look at homes for sale. There's about 4,400 homes for sale. Okay, slightly more than there was at this same time last year. Let's look at pending sales. Okay, more pending sales than last year, but definitely lower than the last 5 years. See how that's kind of trending down? Let's look at it over the last 10. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. See how these peaks are just missing right here? You don't see the same up and down. That's the transaction recession we're in right now. You can really see it in the closed sales. We're selling less homes because rates are so high. As rates get lower, the number of homes we sell will go up. Drop this back to 3 years. Let's go into days on market. Days on market from an average is still 32 days. When we talk about 32 days on market, understand that's a very fast market. That's moving very quickly. But we got used to like this hyper fast market where things were happening so instantly that 32 actually starts to seem slow. By historical standards, that's still a very fast, very busy market. Month supply of pending, 2.1. So that puts us in a seller's market in the winter. But look at it. See this at the beginning of this year? February, 1.6. March, 1.6. April, 1.8. That's when all of those bidding wars were happening. And because inventory is low right now, expect bidding wars to return again in the spring market in 2025. I know you guys don't like this. That's fine. I know buyers don't like this. I know I don't like it when I'm the buyer, I'm the investor. But the data isn't lying to us. These are just facts. We don't have enough homes to keep up with demand. And we have so much freaking red tape here in the Seattle Metro to building homes. I build and develop. I know this firsthand. It takes for freaking ever. And you might as well like put cash on the ground, dump gas on it, and just light it on fire. That is what is preventing affordability. That's what's preventing the affordability and causes home prices to rise. If you want to change that, you need to get involved in your local politics like I am. Get involved because we have to make building and developing easier, quicker, and more affordable in order to create more supply. Supply is the only thing that will create more housing, which will bring down prices, and then also the price of rent. I believe in the strong middle class. I want to do everything humanly possible to make homes more attainable and rent more affordable. And the only thing that's going to do that is more supply. This is that metric I told you I want you to watch, the percent of original list price. So look at this. Here's the winner of last year. Here's where we're at today, 97.9. Now 97.9. What that data is actually telling you is that if it was $100,000, it sold for $97,900. That's how you read that data. And conversely, you read this data when all of a sudden we peak out at 102. It means that people were paying an average in April of 2024 2% more than the freaking list price. That's called bidding wars. Happens every spring. All right, I also want to look at Snohomish County with you real quick. If I could spell Snohomish correctly. Snohomish. There we go. Boom. Let's go back to sales price. Let's look at the median. So what's interesting was Snohomish County stayed a little more stable than King. 750 in May, 750 in June, basically 750 in September, 740 right now. So in the median price, Snohomish County didn't see that same drop that we saw in King County. Average price, a little bit more of a drop, peaked out at 828,000. Right now, about 796,000. New listings showing that same trend. Homes for sale showing the exact same trend. Pending sales up slightly versus last year, but still down due to the lack of affordability and the high rates. Closed sales slightly up, but not anywhere near the peak. DOM, aka days on market, 30 in Snohomish County versus a 31 in King County. Months of supply, 1.6. Ooh, definitely tight on supply. Well, what's that going to mean for the spring? The bidding war. The bidding war. Percent of original list price. Okay, right now, Snohomish County is still performing better than King County. Once again, this is probably due to affordability. You can also see the bidding wars were stronger in Snohomish County. They peaked at 102.4 versus King County, remember, peaked at 102, most likely due to affordability. Shows to pending. This is always an interesting one too. Took 13 showings in November for a home to go pending, but the average property only got 5.2. So the thing to understand, like if you're a seller and your home is on the market and you only got 6 showings and you know your home is in good condition and you know it's properly positioned inside the market and marketed correctly, therefore the only other thing is price. That's what the data is telling you. See, data doesn't lie. We just emotionally sometimes don't like the answers that data is giving us. And everyone, let me know if you have any more questions specifically about the market. Happy to answer them. Happy to go into the data with you specifically. And if we don't have anything else, then I'm just going to say thank you very much for watching. Share this with someone who needs it. Also, if you want a copy of this data that I've just shared, just send me a DM, send me an email, drop in a comment that says data, and we'll figure out how to connect with each other. I'm happy to share this presentation. I can just give it to you in Canva. You can cut my my name and my graphics out of it so you could share them with your clients or your investors. I do this for the real estate community, for my real estate team, for my brokerages, and for our regular listeners so that they know what's going on in the market. And the moral of the story is this: expect above average appreciation next year due to lack of supply, even in the face of the high interest rates. 2, we're going to watch unemployment and how the economy responds to unemployment and where inflation goes. Number 3, you're going to watch some of the local data specifically. What's new listings looking like? How many days on market are they sitting there? What's the list to sales price ratio? And you're going to watch that for wherever it is you're looking. You can watch it at the zip code level, at the city level. You can look at it at a neighborhood level. But if you're going to be an informed buyer, an informed seller, you've got to dig into this data. And we're happy to share it with you. Just let us know how we can get it to you, what you're looking for, and we'll share it with you. Awesome, everyone. I appreciate your time today. Have an amazing day.